let's, for the third time, this is
time.
going to be great.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Missing Lynx post-game podcast live stream. All of the buzzwords. I'm your host, Andrew Dukowitz, beat reporter for Zone Coverage. I cover the Lynx, Wolves, and Gophers for the website. And Kenzo Fukuda,
Yeah.
third time was the best time.
They
I
never
botched
heard-
it the
never
first
heard
time.
it,
Yeah. Well, we're not going to edit any of that out. The pod will start 2 minutes after we start recording it because we had an ad read in there, and I don't want Isaac. Oh, ad sound worked. See, great. Thanks, Nate. Your ad will also work today, I promise. Kenzo covers the Golden State Valkyries for ClutchPoints, and we are going to just start jumping into it. Lynx beat the Valkyries today.
Pretty handedly.
As Kenzo says, pretty handedly. It was a good first quarter, 28-21 Valkyries. I kind of made mention to Terry Horseman, shout out Terry, who sits next to me at games, that about the 3-minute mark of that first quarter, it really seemed like the Lynx got it together. I used in my wording was they seemed kind of spazzy to start the game off. And then once they settled in, it was just kind of a track race for a track meet for the Lynx, which, I mean, Kenzo, I'll ask you, what did you kind of like out of the Valkyries in those first 7-8 minutes before it kind of changed?
It looked really nice to open the game. Natalie and the team always talks about getting family shots and ball movement and just moving the ball. So it looked really nice in that first quarter. They were also hitting some like contested threes there. Salon was like some corner contested threes there, which is kind of her game. But I think it was mostly like things felt comfortable for them. They were playing kind of in their flow. And we'll get to this later. Their flow sort of ceased there for the rest of the game. But yeah, it looked like when the offense is at its best, that's kind of what it looked like. It looks like ball movement, things not getting bogged down. And yeah, it looked really good there in that first quarter.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. I am a company man first. Andrew mentions great rotations like that Cheryl was playing today. Also says he'd like to see Phoenix next round. We do still have another game against Golden State. I don't want to dismiss them too much, but I kind of agree with you. In the first quarter, it did seem like they had some contested shots, but the offense was moving pretty well, which Cheryl post game talked about it, saying, they almost didn't do what was on the scouting report in the first quarter and were letting the Valkyries shoot some threes. I don't know if I necessarily agreed with that. It seemed like they were playing defense pretty well for the most part, but
it seemed like the Valks actually got like points in the paint in that first quarter. Like Temi Bentley was like actually getting into the paint. Veronica Burton was getting like dribble penetration. I think that's sort of what changed like in that second quarter and third quarter. Like the Valkyries just couldn't break the paint, which did not set them up for like those open looks that they were getting in that first quarter.
Well, and that's what was kind of interesting. I mean, people that have seen the Lynx and watched them all season, is the Lynx, if there is one thing they kind of let go of sometimes, it is points in the paint, where teams sometimes can just all of a sudden get it going and really start scoring in the paint. And it seemed like it was just locked down from the first quarter on. Or midway through the first quarter on, that just dried up immediately. Yeah. And then once that happened, shout out to some of the other Valkyries reporters who I've talked to that say that Golden State kind of has this just shot chucking mentality at times. It kind of seemed like that's what they resulted into, was just trying to desperately get something to go in, which I don't know if you felt that same way, but
I think it's hard. They had the most 3-point attempts in the league, and they just refused to quit that, which I think part of that's like the advanced stuff where it's like, if you shoot more threes, it'll eventually make up for some of the other stuff. But they just weren't getting good looks. Like I think like it just, things were just so difficult. Like once Minnesota kind of locked in, it was kind of just like over. I think Minnesota kind of woke up, and then like once they got their defensive rotations like really like moving, the Valks kind of just didn't have like the athleticism to match like the length that Minnesota plays at. Like the length was like, it was causing Veronica Burton a lot of problems today, like especially she had like 7 turnovers, and she's usually like really good at not turning the ball over.
It was interesting because the Valkyries, they only had 16 as a team, so I didn't feel like it was too egregious. But you're right. I mean, the Lynx were pressuring Veronica. I mean, the second she got the ball, it seemed like she would cross half court, and all of a sudden there's just K-Mac or Dejanay or Bridget or someone.
Just waves of wing defenders that just kind of bothered her. That's like kind of probably the next step for her, like moving forward. Like she's made a couple leaps this season. It's just like she's gonna have to learn like other teams are like treating her like the number one option, which is tough. She had a tough night. Yeah,
which Natalie Nakase came in after the game and rightfully had some things to say about the officiating, which I will say I do kind of agree with her. Like the officiating was just weird tonight.
Yeah.
I think if you're just looking at the box score, you'd go, oh, the Valkyries shot 27 free throws. The Lynx only shot 24. Fouls, 22 on the Valkyries, 23 on the Lynx. I mean, I think if you're just looking at the box score, it seemed a lot more evened out, I guess I would say. But, Natalie's point was more of just the fouls that were being called on the Valkyries were just kind of soul crushing, right? Like they would have a great defensive possession and then a late whistle would happen on a Heidemann drive, or they would, I think there was one foul that Natalie blew her challenge on where it was just like
super ticky. It just like the first quarter we were talking about before we went live. Like the first quarter just felt like they're allowing like playoff physicality and like pretty much like both teams were playing really physical. And then in the second quarter, the refs just changed the emphasis. Like they went, they started calling like these very touch foul-y like calls. And like, I think that definitely like hurt the Valkyries in that second quarter. I think the free throw discrepancy in that quarter was 11-1, which is tough to overcome.
Yeah.
Again, it's not why the Valkyries lost. There's a lot of other reasons why the Valkyries can like come back in this game, but it definitely killed some of the momentum that they had there.
And Cheryl kind of spoke on it too, of just, she said she kind of joked with the refs saying, what did you guys talk about at halftime? Because all of a sudden this is different, which I think people who've listened to this know that my biggest critique with refs, other than when somebody blows out their knee and there's only two people reffing a game, which is that happened. That happened to the Lynx this year. They only had two refs. But just the consistency quarter to quarter. If you're going to let them play the whole game. Yeah. Unless there's about to be like fists thrown, then obviously reel it back in. But like it just seemed so strange, which I don't know if that's going to change with it being they're playing in
San Jose, not San Francisco.
San Francisco. But I don't know if that'll necessarily change. I feel like WNBA officiating is always kind of up and down, but I guess like looking forward to San Francisco, what do you feel like Golden State can kind of build on or take from this game? Because it almost seems like a burn the tape and move on with your lives type of game.
It's definitely I burn the tape, because I mean we asked Natalie like in her press conference like any adjustments she's planning on making. She didn't tell us because like you can't tell that in the press conference. But I think like I think the Valkyries need to do more to muck up some of the Lynx's like ball movement. I think the game, this is just me like watching the sidelines, I thought the game plan was limit Nafisa to some of like tougher shots, just make everything hard for her. But that kind of allowed like all these other like Lynx wings and players to like go off. Once like I think the Lynx like made their runs like almost when Collier was like resting.
Yeah.
Natisha Heidemann is just a Valkyries killer. The joke for like the Naz Reid is like the Warriors killer.
Yep.
Natisha Heidman's the Valkyries killer.
If there's any of the Crunch Wears No Pants boys in the live stream here, they have a shtick for the Wolves season where they award one player the Naz Reid Award for the game for exemplifying the most Naz Reid-y of Naz Reid games.
Yeah.
They have gone all in on the WNBA this season, and they have dubbed it the Natisha Heidemann Award.
Right.
That is the Naz Reid Award for the Lynx, the Natisha Heidemann Award. So they would, I think we have the same vibes where like what's interesting with her is it's almost every time Courtney has a down game.
Yeah.
And Courtney started off pretty rocky in this one. She seemed kind of erratic for most of the first quarter, but then T comes in and it just changes. And then
that was the other thing the second quarter. That was like she just went off. She kind of just like got to the rim, hit the open threes. Yeah.
Which it's official now. She is 10th in the paint field goal percentage for the season. I mean, when you have I think she's listed at 5'8", but probably closer to 5'5" point guard that is 10th in the league in rim percentage. And that's the other thing I felt was really weird this game is the Valkyries, when I was diving into the matchup and when I've seen them, they're always so disciplined in the paint, where they, allow the least points in the paint per percentage. They're really good at defending at the rim.
Yeah.
And tonight it just kind of seemed like the Lynx had a layup line going at times, which, to your point, I think some of that is from Fee, but I wonder if there's just anything else that just kind of led to that like stark change from how they defend.
I think the emphasis was like limit the Lynx's like shooting, because the Lynx are the best shooting team. Maybe they were one of the best in history. Like limit like some of those shots there, but the Lynx just kind of beat them with ball movement and a lot of like straight line drives. Like that was concerning actually. Like they got like, I feel like Tisha just went left every single time and got to the rim. And I don't know. Like that's a little concerning because Valkyries are usually better at that. I think it might be different when they go back home. The crowd was definitely a factor tonight. The Lynx crowd's great. Like that is really loud. It's really loud versus small. Yeah, no, they were on it. They were on it tonight.
Yeah, they had a sellout 8,800. They didn't open up the upper deck of the Target Center, and Dejanay Carrington checks in, and I could barely hear the PA announcer say her name. I mean, it's Lynx fans are just you guys are insane. Towels going everywhere. People brought pink wigs back, which like that's insane. All of you guys are awesome. KJ asks, is T okay? That fall at the end seemed to shake her up a little bit more than normal. KJ, I'm going to leave a cliffhanger here, and we're going to give Firehawk another ad read because the 3 minutes of muted audio at the beginning I think will get cut. But when we come back, we'll talk about T. We'll talk about Fee had some injury, eagle-eyed fans saying there might have been an injury there as well. And we'll get to that after the ad read. Well, hello. Thank you, live stream Andrew. This is ad read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Lynx podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. All right. So KJ asks if T is okay. I think she's fine. I didn't see anything to be worried about. Her electric slide looked on point at the end of the game. I thought she looked fine. Fee also, I know she came up a little limp. I want to say the last time she checked out in the third quarter, she looked a little limpy going to the bench, but Cheryl had her up and ready to check in with 8 minutes left. And like, if you ever want to know if Cheryl is serious when she says she doesn't pay attention to the score of the game and she's just playing play by play, I bet there's a good chance that one of the assistant coaches like took her aside and was like, we're up by 29. Maybe we don't need to put Fee back in. And then Fee came back and everyone kind of sat. But I mean, even Dejanay looked awesome today. Kind of goes to show just, I think they were just making sure she was 100% for the playoffs. But I mean, on the Valkyrie side, was there anyone that was really kind of worrying you injury wise? I know Tiffany Hayes didn't play after kind of getting talked about practicing.
Yeah, I think, well, Ileana Rupert left the last game, like kind of in the fourth. The game was lost, but like she left, and I think it was like a foot or ankle injury there. That was her minutes were a little surprising. She didn't play that much. She also didn't score as much, which is a kind of a factor I'm looking forward to seeing in game 2, just because like the Valkyries offense is like leagues, like statistically there's leagues better when she's on the court. I think their offensive ratings like at its best when she's on the floor. And she didn't get too many minutes tonight. I don't know if that was a matchup thing or maybe just like kind of easing her back in from like a weird sort of injury on in the regular season last game. But other than that, like they're at the most health they can probably be right now. I don't even know if Tip Hayes is going to be ready for game 2. Yeah. She's kind of just been out for a minute, and like they don't really tell us the most details about that. Yeah. So I think like this is who the Valkyries just have to rock with, and it's going to be tough. My optimism for game 2 is not that high.
Yeah. Well, and Kate Martin didn't play in the regular season finale. I know people were kind of worried if she was injured or something. I mean, she looked fine tonight.
It usually is just like a rotation thing. Like the Valkyries rotation is never really consistent. It's just, it's just like Natalie just goes with like whatever matchup she thinks is suitable. So she hinted at maybe changing that in game 2. Maybe more Carla late minutes. That's kind of like I call her the Jordan Poole version for the Valkyries, just because she has like a different change of pace. But again, she's a rookie, so it's kind of hard to like rely on her to change like the Valkyries' destiny at this point.
Yeah, it's just, again, and if anyone has any questions in the chat, anyone wants to chime in, feel free to. We're more than happy to answer the questions or listen to comments here. But I mean, it just felt like kind of the Valkyries. I mean, the other thing that kind of jumped off the page for me was just they're a good offensive rebounding team. They're a good, like everything that she's kind of, or the Valkyries are like good at, just didn't really show up tonight, which
other than that first quarter,
which I think if you're a Lynx fan, that's, this is a testament to, the Lynx play so well up to the All-Star break, and then they don't really have a competitive game of basketball since, I mean, maybe that Aces game that Fee got injured in at the end of July. And Andrew says, the Lynx maybe came out a little too nervous. I almost felt like they came out too caffeinated. Like maybe they had too much coffee before the game. Just really uncharacteristic play on both ends, over helping on defense. But again, this is a team that if you're a Lynx fan, you got to be excited for. 101 points on the third best defense in the league, and they just kind of dismantled them. But on the other side, the Valkyries, it's hard it's tough to draw the Lynx.
I think like it's tough because they had 3 chances to kind of avoid the Lynx. Like all they had to do was get 1 win. They would have been 6, playing probably Atlanta, which Atlanta's not an easy team, but that would have been a lot easier than the Lynx. I think they match up better there. I mean, anything can happen. Like if maybe that first quarter momentum carries on and it stays close, then maybe the Valkyries can steal one. But again, I'm speaking in maybes. Like this is like the recipe for game 2 is like muck it up. But the way the Lynx played tonight, it's like I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I'm gonna throw us over to one more ad read. We'll do a little bit more. And we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. All right. Shout out Nate Pence for telling me that the mic is muted, then telling me that the mic is no longer muted, and then sponsoring Hitting the Hardwood. Also, shout out Nate Pence for coming to say hi from your lovely seats. I hope you had fun today. So I'd like to kind of close, Kenzo, just asking you, this is a Valkyries team that has proven they can fill the Chase Center. They have awesome fans. They have a good organization behind them. Natalie's a phenomenal coach. Looking to this off season, which there still is a game, everyone. It's not there
over yet.
But like it has to be kind of like an exciting time to cover the Valkyries because they're going to be able to go out to big free agents this offseason and say, hey, look what we have built in a year. Like if you come here, this is what you're coming into. It's not the unknown anymore. Just kind of what is your thoughts on this upcoming offseason for the Valkyries?
I think they're going to go big star hunting. Joe Lacob, also the owner of the Valkyries, owner of the Warriors, he's willing to spend the money to get the players that he wants. I think in this offseason he's going to go, I don't know who, like the dream of course is like Asia Wilson. I don't think that's happening, but I think this offseason will be fun because they have certain players they want to that they're definitely going to have return. Veronica Burton's become a staple for sure. Janelle Salon. They have the other problem is like they have to protect certain players. I think they're not going to be exempt from the expansion draft. We don't know anything about the expansion draft.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of
worms. Like they have certain players that they're definitely going to protect. But I'm excited for this offseason just because like I think they've shown that not only like they can get the fans like hyped for these games, they also take care of their players. One of the big things that Natalie just emphasizes is like not rushing players back from injury. I think they were like the most heavily injured team this season. I think they did a good job of not compounding on that, like not bringing people back before they're ready. So I think that goes a long way in like how you treat your players, because I think we've seen this like recent like news cycles, like some of these teams don't exactly treat the players right.
I talked about that with Conrado Pasquale on kind of the one-off one of just like the in the CBA, that has to be something that's being discussed, right? Like you got to have like level training facilities, like nutrition, physical therapists, like all of that stuff. But like as it currently stands, like you do have teams like the Valkyries, the Lynx, the Aces, the Liberty, that even the Fever have like a really good training facility and staff. And then you kind of have this big dip down to these other teams where it's, if you're the Valkyries, like you can sit there and kind of do the same thing the Lynx do. And the Lynx go out and try and get free agents. And they're like, we have a breakfast bar that serves omelets, not just dry cereal.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, kudos to you. Janelle here in the chat shares a nice message for you, Kenzo.
Thank you so
Congrats
much.
on a fantastic first season for the Valkyries. Set the bar super high for expansion teams. I mean, 100%. I mean, even your guys' coverage has set the bar super high. I can't remember last year. We went through Phoenix, Connecticut, and New York, and there's more Valkyries people at this press conference than any of those ones. So like, y'all are doing it right.
It's fun. It's been fun. Yeah. This has been my first like professional cover beat. Like I covered a little bit of the Warriors. Like that was mid-season when I got hired, so I got a little bit of taste of that. But this has been my first like professional beat. So it's been really fun. Met a lot of cool people. But I think at the beginning of the season, I was a lot more nervous asking those questions. So yeah, it's been a fun season.
I always say, like last year was my first season on the Lynx beat, and going from the Lynx to the Warriors through the Lynx to the Wolves through the whole Wolves season, I kind of missed the Lynx because there's just so much more like availability. People like want to talk to media, which like, part of it is like my shtick as a media member is I try and ask more fun questions and like get people's personalities to show.
Yeah.
But the other part of it is just like NBA players have like cameras shoved in their face constantly. And it's just, it's a really cool vibe to start in the W because you get so much more experience than in the NBA. That being said though, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, Kenzo, any parting thoughts just on like how does this game play out? Do you think it is just kind of a surefire Lynx are going to move on, or do you think there is a chance that the Valkyries can come out and at least kind of punch back and make it a series?
I think I kind of can see how it's going to go. I think the first half is going to be really physical and tough, and they're going to be within like a couple points of the Lynx, and then that third quarter is going to be a little rough. I'm not going to predict that. I don't want to like put that on the Valkyries or anything, but I think the vibe, and it's gonna be interesting to see the vibe in that different arena. I think it'll be really loud, and that'll probably fuel them in the first half. And then the Lynx are the experience. They're gonna adjust, and we'll see how that plays out. They've had a couple of close games here and there where there might be a chance to steal it, but I don't know. I think the experience of the Lynx is too much to handle right now. I'm hoping the Valkyries can put up a fight. I think they've earned the faith that like the like Cinderella belief like.
I think they have a chance.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd take them to win 2 in a row and win the series.
Yeah.
And I scoffed a little bit. So I apologize to any Valkyries fans, Kenzo and Valkyries writers in this room. But like, I do think they have a chance because they shoot a ton of threes and they play good defense. If the 3 ball is just magneting in there, like they have that chance. That being said, I mean,
it's tough.
When you look at these 2 teams on paper and you have like a zone heavy Valkyries team that relies on the 3, and you have a just kind of, I mean, we were talking before we started recording of just, the worst player in the Lynx rotation is still like an above average playmaker. When you sub in Natisha Heidemann, Jessica Shepard, and Dejanay Carrington, you're not dropping off any of that like ball movement and decision making, which, Veronica Burton mentioned it, kind of just, there's just waves and waves of Lynx that just kind of overwhelm you at a point. So I feel the same way. I think there's enough talent and pride on that team that they're going to make it a game. But I don't know if there's anything in this game. I feel like the path to stealing 2 against the Lynx is,
that's a tough one.
That's a tough one. And moving forward into the next series too. I mean, with Phoenix and New York, which we'll see how they stack up in the coming days here too. I mean, if this is the Lynx team from the first half of the season, it's going to be fun to cover. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Kenzo, I want to give you the opportunity. Anything you want to plug, any stories you're working on, where can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me at ClutchPoints. I'm on the Valkyries beat. I'm going to be covering the Warriors this upcoming season, so that'll be really fun. You can follow me on Twitter, Kenzo Fuku, KenzoFuku. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
100%, man.
Fun time. Yeah.
Christian said you were the guy to go to, so I had to go to you. For Lynx fans out there, thank you, everyone that popped in. 288 people swung by the live just hours before a Vikings game and with no audio at the beginning of the stream. So shout out to all of you guys. This is why we're doing this. And until next time, we'll catch you on Wednesday.
Sweet.